Welcome back to Rudy's 1/6 World for episode 26 of our new figure showcase, where I'll be doing a quick review / posing session with the newest addition to my collection. And today, we're going back to my favorite figure line, and it is another pickup from Gangsters Kingdom by Damtoys. And this time, we're going to be looking at the 4 of Spades, aka Chad. Now, I have to do my mandatory introduction to the line in case anyone watching this video isn't familiar with these figures. But this is an original line from Damtoys that they've been doing for some time now. And they basically take famous people, be it actors or celebrities or athletes, even movie directors, and create highly stylized caricature-like sculpts and characters that are dropped into this Gangsters Kingdom world, which is ruled by 4 main gangs. Now, early on, they were very much focused on the Spades gang, and the main player in all the stories seemed to be the first release, which was the Jack of Spades known as Ogier. But I think this might be the first story that changes things up a little bit. And to catch you up on that story, basically the 4 of Spades is on an operation with the 3 of Spades, who we previously took a look at, and they're raiding an enemy gang operation. So again, good overall setup for the story, but it's pretty much just that, a setup, letting you be creative and let your imagination run a little wild with these, and come up with your own story. So as is normal for us, let's take a look at the overall package we're getting from Damtoys. But before that, let's just take a quick look at the 4 of Spades playing card, which comes with the set, which is typical for all of the main gang members. And it's really nicely done. It's got nice card stock showing an image of Chad, and it looks really good. So I'm definitely starting to get my deck together. So now, let's really get into the figure, and as is usual with the primary characters, he does come with a decent number of accessories, including multiple weapons, a knife in a sheath that attaches to his belt, a bag of sorts, and a face mask with a skull pattern on it. He also does come with a pair of sunglasses and 1 additional interchangeable hand. So nice package, and one thing I like about all the releases so far is that they're very unique, and each one does stand apart and feels different. Yet, they do fit together cohesively in this world that Damtoys has created. And on top of that, all the accessories are really nicely done and designed to go well with the base figure and kind of match. So let's take a closer look at set accessories and start off with his AK, which looks great, and it does include a folding stock that also nestles nicely back in place to give you a more compact version of the rifle. And it does look great with the classic looking AK wood grain along the forward grip as well. And there are great paint applications here and weathering, really giving you that just additional feel of realism with the piece. The nice additional item here are the magazines. You get a single mag, but you also get a double with connecting clips so he can do a quick reload. Definitely a very nice piece and probably the way I'll choose to go display wise. Next up, he has a classic 1911 with a working hammer. I will say this one isn't as nice as some of the other pieces we've seen. There's some rougher finishes around the slide, but it still looks decent with the nice silver finish and the really nicely detailed and textured grip plates on the handle. Also, the clip is removable and has some nice detail work as well. As far as other weapons, the last one is a Rambo-style knife, and it does include a leather-like sheath. The sheath definitely matches the color palette for the figure, and includes a nice decorative tag at the top, and some nice detail work at the bottom. My only concern with this piece is longevity, as this type of pleather does tend to flake, but even for an older release, this looks to be in pretty good condition. As far as the knife, it has some nice details, and I do like that it includes the traditional Gangsters Kingdom style blood on the blade. This one does have a very glossy feel to it, so it does seem fresh, so to speak. So always a nice touch. Moving beyond the weapons, he does come with a mask of sorts that fits over the sculpt and covers his mouth, and it's a black piece of fabric with the lower portion of a skull printed on. Really looks nice, and I'm looking forward to trying it on the figure. However, I don't think this is a piece I would permanently leave on, as I feel like I'd be concerned that it would potentially bleed and stain your sculpt, which these are so good you don't want to do that. And then he does include a pair of sunglasses. These are still pretty nice, but just essentially a reused part from other figures. But I do like the black frame and the lenses here. At least we're getting nice color variations in the glasses. And finally, for accessories, he comes with a duffel bag of sorts that's packed with foam, and it's totally grungy and dirty and has the annotation, "Sin is unable to stop." Interesting quote, I guess, and also the duffel could serve as a way for him to transport the rifle or his other weapons. As far as alternate hands, he only comes with 1 additional fist, and as is often the case with this line, there is a tattoo on the front with the phrase "Don't provoke me," reading over a skull with lightning bolts coming out. Really nice print, and again, something that does help to flesh out the characters and give each character a little bit more personality. Now, with the accessories out of the way, let's take a look at the sculpt, and let's start by noting that this is based on the likeness to actor Colin Farrell, and I think it's a pretty good approximation to that. Now, due to the stylized version of the sculpt, it's not exactly identical, but I do feel that you could tell who this is supposed to be. Now, all of the Gangsters Kingdom figures I've reviewed thus far, of all of them, I think this is the most advanced in terms of detail work, particularly with the hair. To this point, all the other figures have had short cropped hair that Damtoys either painted on or, like with Reyes, had some very subtle texturing. Now here we have a full head of hair, and I think Damtoys did a great job with the detail work and the paint apps here. And they did give him a set of very bushy eyebrows, which definitely sets him apart. I think the other thing I like here is the 5 o'clock shadow. It's really pronounced and definitely gives the sculpt a little something extra in terms of detail. And obviously the eyes, always extremely well done with these, and the 4 Spades is no different. The detail work on these sculpts is just incredible, and again, the sculpt does have some personality to it. There's a slight squint at the eyes, and there's a more stoic feel to the face. And that works pretty well for this character, since he is supposed to be an enforcer, but also a family man. Now, as far as the clothing, if you've watched any of the other Gangsters Kingdom reviews, this isn't going to be news to you. The clothing set that comes with this figure is incredible. I will note that the jacket does seem a little on the heavy side, and it is a little too thick, and it definitely feels like it's going to impact the posability. But from a visual standpoint, it looks great and has a nice subtle pattern to it. Beyond that, though, it's got nice details, including the pockets and some good zipper details. And the undershirt, which we'll see a little more clearly later on, is a nice soft material as well. That's got some great tailoring to it. The jeans are some of the best 6-scale jeans I've seen, and that's typical for this line. The material isn't heavy at all, and it looks great and definitely doesn't hinder posability. The nice detail work also extends to the cowboy boots here, and again, no effort was spared, and these do have a great pattern to them and great paint work to give it that worn-in look. And even overall, they're very stylish, and again, that work also extends to the bottom of the boots, where you can see some really nice stitch patterns along the edges of the sole. Similarly, if you look at the inside of his jacket, the brand logo specifically shows a spade and identifies him as the 4 Spades. So I'm just continuously blown away by the work Damtoys does, even for elements that no one is really going to see. That attention to detail is incredible, and it's why I really do feel like this series is set apart a lot, and it's quickly become one of, if not my favorite line that I'm collecting. Every aspect of the figure, the sculpts, the clothing sets, the accessories, there's a lot of care given to everything that really does make them stand apart. And I think the great thing about the Gangsters Kingdom line is the multitude of display options available to you. I do think for this particular figure, the biggest negative is probably the jacket. Even though I think it looks great, it's such thick material that it does limit your posability with the arms. So that is one of the decisions I'll need to make as to how I choose to display him. I think he looks good with just the shirt on as well, and he looks great with the jacket. So I think it's ultimately depend on the pose I want to go with. If I want something a little more dynamic, then I think getting rid of the jacket and just leaving him with the shirt makes more sense. Or I could go with a more museum style pose and keep the jacket on. Now, you'll see on some shots that there is a little plastic that Damtoys wrapped around the shirt sleeves at the wrists. I haven't removed it just because I'm not sure which display option I'm going with, but they did it so that you can put the jacket on more easily and the shirt doesn't get snagged on the on the jacket as you're putting it on. But frankly, that would be the only major negative here. Figure looks great and it poses amazingly well. It stands on its own. I mean, it gets the basics right and then just has all the added highlights to boot. I really can't say it enough. I'm glad I got the chance to jump into this line. And at this point, I think I've hunted down almost every figure except for 2 that are left. But I'm still on the hunt and I'm planning on getting them at some point, even though there is one of those that is going to cost me a pretty penny on the secondary market, and I'm just... I should have jumped in this line earlier. But going back to the figures, I continue to be surprised at how under the radar this line seems to run, just because the figures look incredible and they're actually really loaded releases for the most part. I know, like everything, the cost of these has gone up and now they're almost at Hot Toys levels, but when you look at some of the packages for the higher priced figures, including especially the big sets that come with big set pieces, I think Damtoys is justified in charging more for those items. But Chad looks great, and besides Ogier, he's the first figure in the line that looks like he's, a character with a plan. Nelson and Bernie look like they might be loose cannons of sorts, and the same thing held true with Reyes. And that might be due to the expression that was used for the sculpts, but Chad looks like he's got a job to do and is in no mood for any nonsense. In the line, I would definitely peg him as one of the leaders, at least early on in the series, and with some of his poses and some of the storyline we have, I could picture him jumping out of a van with Bernie, intercepting a prison transport with Saxon. So it just goes to show you how much you could let your imagination run with these. And the weaponry he comes with definitely helps make him a little bit more intimidating, as he looks like he's more equipped for battle. And I do have to say, I think he might have dethroned Nelson as my current favorite in the line. He's just a great figure all around. And now with all that ranking, you know, it's not that the other figures in the line are bad or anything like that. Not at all. They all look amazing too. It's just that, you know, there's definitely some favorites here. They're all great figures, and they do stand out a lot, especially when posed together. But I think it's evident again that Damtoys is bringing in their military figure knowledge to these, because they just pose so well and so naturally. Which is strange to say given the cartoonish nature of the sculpts, but some of the poses you can attain with them are just incredible. And they're poses you can't get with some Hot Toys and some of the other companies. So that's always a big plus for me for this line. So that was a quick look at the 4 Spades, aka Chad. Now, I did just get Archibald, who was one of the recent releases, and Vera is also on her way, and she is the latest release. So with the story getting a little jumbled up, I might just do an unboxing review of those first before opening up any of the any of the other legacy characters. But let me know if you think that's the right approach, or if I should try to continue going in order. And let me know if you own the 4 Spades, if you like him as much as I do, or if you have any other favorites in the line. And as always, thank you for watching, and if you are enjoying the content, including these reviews and some of the breaking news videos, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll touch base on the next video.